जमीन को भी मिट्टी में मिलाने का समय आ गया है।
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Tonight, the Prime Minister's words resonating in my ears. Target bada hai, samay kam hai. Remember, this is the blueprint on which the defense forces, the security apparatus, and the Prime Minister are working. Bharat is getting battle ready for revenge. It is time for Pakistan to pay back for Pahalgam carnage. Prime Minister Modi himself is at the helm of the war room, and this time the political will and intent has been given a free hand to the forces. The corridors of 7 Lok Kalyan Marg have been abuzz with secret meetings behind closed doors. Raksha Mantri Rajnath Singh, the Tri-Services Chief's National Security Advisor Ajit Doval were in a high-level security meeting earlier this evening, which lasted over 90 minutes. The next high-profile visitor was RSS Chief Mohan Bhagwat, but people are saying that in the next 24 hours, things will begin to get clearer as the Cabinet Committee on Security also plans a meeting tomorrow morning. By 4 or 5 p.m. tomorrow evening, we will have more news and the scenario becoming clearer on the timing, the place, and the manner in which India is going to ask for payback. So sensitive are the nature of these meetings that not a whisper of the operational details will be revealed, and that's understandable. But what do we know from people who have been close to this meeting in terms of the message of intent by the Prime Minister? From what we are being told, the Prime Minister has said that the armed forces have complete operational freedom to decide on the mode, on the targets, and the timing of India's response. Modi has reaffirmed that it is our national resolve to deal a crushing blow to terrorism. Mitti mein mila denge. This is the message to our braves to avenge Pahalgam victims. This has left Pakistan literally quaking in its boots. Its Defense Minister Khwaja Asif has been predicting that war by India is imminent in a day or 2 or 3. The desperate and dara hua Pakistan has now resorted to fakery. It has released in a press conference an undated audio clip claiming India is funding terror in Pakistan. Look at the irony of it all. Going straight across to the debate, joining me this evening on what's the impending strategy. Joining me tonight, Kanwal Sibal, former Foreign Secretary, Tilak Deveshwar, member of the National Security Advisory Board. Also joining me tonight is Brahma Chalani, strategic affairs expert, and Colonel Shailendra Singh, defense analyst, joining us in a bit. But Kanwal Sibal, first to you. How do you look at India's response? A briefing of several ambassadors has been done. There have been hotlines with heads of various governments. How do you think India is going to calibrate its response? Do you have any doubt in your mind that a military response is on the cards?
I think it is on the cards, given the kind of meetings that are taking place one after another, with close consultations with the CCS and our security and our Army, Navy and Air Force chiefs. It's clear that there is a very deep discussion on what our options are, what our strategy should be, and what should be the targets, the possibility of Pakistani retaliation, what could be the nature of the retaliation, how we could address that threat, the whole escalation ladder business. So, and then Prime Minister saying that this time, Pakistan will pay an unimaginable price. To my mind, is just not rhetoric. I mean, he means it. Now, the issue is, what will be our strategy? to my mind, very difficult for me to anticipate what will be done. But I think after having taken diplomatic steps, which are very important, the suspension of the Indus Waters Treaty being the most important, we have now to think of kinetic steps. Now, briefing the ambassadors of various countries and leaders of various countries is simply to convince them of Pakistan's hand. That is the purpose. So if we go in for a military strike against Pakistan, then we have to provide our interlocutors with reasonable proof that Pakistan is involved, and that was the purpose of that exercise. That does not mean that countries who are very friendly and who have supported us on this issue will necessarily welcome kinetic action by us, because the usual fears will be raised that this can go out of hand. Both are nuclear weapon states, and it can end into something frightful. And therefore, there'll be the usual voices of mutual restraint, dialogue, diplomacy, and reducing tensions and mediation. Already, Saudi Arabia and Iran have offered mediation, so Pakistan will mobilize others also. My own view would be, for whatever it's worth, is that our target should be in POK, because POK is our territory legally, so we are not attacking Pakistani territory per se. And there, unlike in the past where we had limited targets, we can go all out and strike at will, both at the economic targets as well as the military targets. The Neelam Valley is very vulnerable, and Pakistanis are always profoundly concerned about us shelling that area. We should do that. The Chinese are building a project there. And then there are these military installations of Pakistan in POK. We can do that. Now, Pakistan can't retaliate against Jammu and Kashmir per se. It's difficult for them because they don't want to alienate the Kashmiris. Maybe in Jammu they can, but they will spare the valley. So they'll be forced at some stage to actually attack India proper. And that will then give us the casus belli and the opening we need, because Pakistan would have initiated a conflict against Indian territory per se. And then we can see what we can do, because Pakistan is extremely vulnerable. It has no depth. All its major cities, its military bases, its Murid terrorist outfits, they are all within our range, and we have these new aircraft, but leave the aircraft, we have BrahMos missiles and other things that we can use. So Pakistan has committed a grievous error. The Pakistani army chief has committed a grievous error in doing what he did, and preceding it with this absolutely rabid, bigoted speech that Hindus and Muslims can all live together and justify.
Absolutely. And that was the precursor to the Pahalgam carnage. And clearly, target on Asif Munir is something that at least people in India are seeking. But do you think that's possible, Tilak Deveshwar? I want to ask you that Mr. Kamal Sibbal thinks that POK should be the target. But what about those who say this is actually not a terror strike, this is the Pakistani army which has struck tourists in Pahalgam with a message, with an intent to destabilize India? Do you think it's enough to just target POK? Can we go beyond that? Will it be a limited strike?
You see, the opening bouquet of measures, the slew of measures that India took within 24 hours, the non-kinetic measures, I think they were extremely effective. Especially holding the Indus Water Treaty in abeyance at a time when Pakistan is already water stressed, and they'll be going into the sowing for the early Kharif crop by the middle of May. And if water supplies continue to be disrupted or to get disrupted, Pakistan will face a serious problem sometimes down the road. So I think that's been a very effective strategy that we have adopted. Now, as far as the kinetic targets are concerned, you see, I think the three services are probably, I won't want to second guess them, what they will plan to do. But what Prime Minister has said, and the manner in which he's talked about unimaginable consequences and, mitti mein mila denge kind of a thing. So I don't think it will be limited only to the terrorists or the terror camps, whether in POK or anywhere else. I think he means to degrade the terror infrastructure, to degrade the ability of Pakistan to do something like this ever again in the future. I mean, that is a far more elaborate, far more serious, and a far bigger objective that he has given out to the country, to not only the three services, but to all of us also. So I think it is going to be more than just limited territorially. It will encompass several things which I, at this moment, am not in a position to sort of come to any conclusion or say anything. But I think it's going to be a very serious, strike at Pakistan to make sure that they can't do this kind of a thing again. So yes, and I would agree with Mr. Kamal Sibal that this has been a grievous miscalculation on the part of Pakistan to have carried or pulled off something like Pahalgam. This is going to be this really is a breaking point in Indo-Pak relations, that it will never be the same again. So this is going to be a very significant comeback by India.
Very, very important point that you make there, Mr. Deveshwar. You're saying it's going to be more substantial than just POK, and you're saying that this is something that you can't give details on, and I completely understand and appreciate, and so will our viewers and each and every citizen of India. But I would love to be a fly on the wall when you are having those meetings, internally on how we are calibrating the attack. But that's wishful thinking. Brahma Chelani, my question to you is, how seriously should we look at China siding with Pakistan? Does India need to be worried about China and its presence in Bangladesh on the eastern front, with Pakistan on the western front? And, how limited and what is going to be the timing of the retaliation by India is something that everybody wants to understand.
Pakistan is not alone. It has China not only on its side, but a China that is aiding Pakistan in every way possible, including rushing new weapons to Pakistan in recent days, including air-to-air missiles. In fact, there are thousands of regular Chinese troops stationed in Pakistan-occupied Jammu and Kashmir, especially Gilgit-Baltistan. Plus, there are some Chinese troops in Balochistan and elsewhere in Pakistan, supposedly protecting Chinese projects. So China is very much deeply involved in Pakistan. But I think the larger question that you are asking about India's choice of targets and timing, normally a state should not attack an adversary by first advertising it publicly. India should impose costs on Pakistan when Pakistan least expects to be hit. Right now, the Pakistan armed forces are on high alert. If India strikes now, it will mean a limited strike, a one-off operation of the type that we have seen in the past, like Palakot airstrike or the 2016 ground-launched surgical strike. A one-off operation will not change Pakistan's behavior. It has not changed in the past. It will not change now. It won't change in the future. And another point that I wish to emphasize is that when the Balakot airstrike happened, that airstrike, like the surgical strike of 2016, targeted Pakistan military's terrorist proxies. India went out of its way during the Balakot airstrike to say it hit a quote-unquote non-military target at Balakot, although the terrorist group whose camp was struck in Balakot was a known front organization of Pakistan's ISI. Let's be clear. India should be targeting the terror masters, the military generals, not their proxies. The terrorists are only the proxies of the generals. Unless the puppeteers, not the puppets, begin to bear escalating costs, Pakistan's behavior won't change. And I think it's time for India to be clear about what it seeks to achieve. Will it hit the puppets again, or will it hit the puppeteers? For so many years now, even though India dwarfs Pakistan in terms of economic and military power, India's economy is 11 times bigger than Pakistan's. India's defense budget is several times larger than Pakistan's. Yet successive Indian governments have allowed Pakistan to bleed India with impunity. It is as if India were the smaller and weaker state. In fact, instead of fighting Pakistan on Pakistani territory, India has been fighting Pakistan on Indian soil. This is largely because no government, and I emphasize no government, has pursued a consistent Pakistan policy. This has to change. It's not about just carrying out some strikes. It's about having a consistent Pakistan policy, having a strategy, because we have an adversary that is engaged in civilizational war with India. That adversary is a rogue state. It's a state determined to bleed India. It's a state determined to dismember India. And we have to deal with this reality.
I would just like to interrupt you there, because those are visuals of a meeting ending at the Prime Minister's residence. There have been a flurry of meetings today after the Defense Services chiefs, as well as the National Security Advisor and the Defense Minister. We had a meeting between the Home Minister and the Prime Minister, and then the RSS chief. We have just seen all of those meetings ending, and tomorrow is the all-crucial Cabinet Committee on Security meeting. A lot of activity taking place there at 7 Lok Kalyan Marg, and we're seeing probably the Home Minister leaving from there with the security detail that is visible on our screens. But let me ask you, Colonel Shailendra Singh. The question tonight is not whether or not India is going to attack. Most people are saying, and the statements of the Prime Minister, if those are anything to go by, his most latest statement saying, target bada hai, samay kam hai, which means the strike is imminent. It is possibly soon. How soon? Can you give us a sense of what is the time frame that we are looking at? And besides that, I also want to ask you, is there a need for us to get into a full-scale blown-out war? Would we be walking into a trap? Because China does not want us to keep on proceeding as far as our economic growth is concerned. A $5 trillion economy is not something that will be, welcomed by China. Are we walking into a trap on the economic front if we were to take a military decision?
Jai Hind, Namaskar. Navika ji, with the three panelists sitting here, I think I am only a student of theirs, so I'll not be able to say much on what is happening at that level. But let me assure the three panelists, the country and you, if at all there is a strike, if at all there is a war, if there is anything, it will be done at my level. And that is called as the battalion commander level. The battalions are the one which will be doing that. So from that point of view, I do understand that what is happening in the world front is one part. What will happen on the ground part is another part of it. Now coming to this point which is being debated in Pakistan, more or less on us, that whether there is going to be a strike or not, an imminent strike. Unka to defense minister ne 5 cities bhi ginwa di where we are going to strike on a particular day. I don't know how do they come to know. But this is also a trap. They are creating a phobia within themselves, so that the world comes to know that this is not a normal situation. There is going to be a full-fledged war as what they are wanting to spread. I want to know from anybody, where is the word war used by any Prime Minister of our Defense Minister, Home Minister, anybody? We have not said that there is going to be a war. I don't know how China has to say that the sovereignty of the Pakistan is to be maintained. I am not violating it. Who said I am violating it? I am not after that. A statement is very clear. Now it is only chod ki dani mein tinka that Pakistan is interpreting it. What has our Prime Minister said? He has only said that we will get after these Atanki, terrorists and their Aka. Now that is where the problem has started. ये जो बोला गया है ना कि सजा मिलेगी is not very important. मिलकर ही रहेगी. That is what is enlarging the compass where we are talking about. I must tell you that nuclear, well, if a country is to use nuclear, don't you think it is very irresponsible on the part of their leaders or so-called netas to say a paya ke bum, 100 gram ke bum? That हमारे यहाँ पर वो सुतली bum is 100 grams actually. I don't know why. Who is creating this war? I am not creating. For me, 100 grams is only a sutli bum. There is nothing beyond that. I must tell you, if there is a conflict which is on India, the Pakistan has been always on conflict. We have been tolerant. And this tolerance has been taken for a weakness. Now, high time, first time ever that our Prime Minister has so categorically said, and it is getting proved on ground. We have already taken so-called water fight with them. We have taken the diplomatic fight on them, and we are giving an opportunity to the complete world. If the foreign secretary can allow me, Sibyl sir, we are giving an opportunity to the world, whether you want to stand with the terrorism or against the terrorism. If you all countries have been saying that you are anti-terrorist, then you have no choice but other than support India.
Well, diplomacy, is a lot of shades of grey and black that we've seen in the past. But there are two facts that I want to put on the table. Number one, at the UN, in its right to reply, India has completely unmasked Pakistan, calling it the safe house of terrorists and a factory of terrorists, and unmasked also the confession that came in from the defense minister of Pakistan himself. And after that, there are only two dates that I wish to leave you viewers with. One, date of attack in Uri, 18th September. Date of surgical strikes, 28th September. 10 days flat. And then came the Pulwama attack. Date of attack, 14th of February, Balakot, airstrikes, 26th of February. It was 12 days flat. That's the record India's maintained. We are sitting on the 8th day. Well, timing, your guess, is as good as mine. But we're being told heightened activity expected tomorrow. Be here on this channel to watch as the news unfolds. Tighten your seatbelts because the day of reckoning is around the corner. With that, thank you very much to all my esteemed guests joining me on debate number one.